Before the video starts, I wanted to give a quick warning. This video does contain some mentions of sexual assault, as well as eating disorders and child abuse. There are warnings before I delve into those topics, but if that's not enough heads up, go ahead and skip this video. Hey, welcome back to Anti-King. How you been? Today we're diving right back into horror you probably slept on, with our first look at a movie that isn't strictly horror, but boy is it sexy. That's right, starring Heather Graham, the 2013 film spares no sweat in getting you all hot and bothered, and it's also a supremely crafted thriller that gets creepy as all hell. So let's dive in. The movie wastes no time as it opens with a sexy cooking montage before opening on our stunning protagonist, Amy, who hosts some sort of cooking show? Oh wait, that was a fantasy sequence? What the fuck? Actually, it was a story device that's used throughout and helps the main character espouse different themes and plot points. Anyways, Amy is being questioned about the disappearance of an actress named Saffron. The power dynamic here is brilliantly flipped completely on its head. This is Amy's domain, and no nosy investigator will change that today. In a flashback, we see Amy has built, or rather her significant other has built, a pristine and perfect down to the exact height of the island kitchen. She has a noticeable and unhealthy attachment to said kitchen. An obsession. More than her kitchen, she has an obsession with cooking, with the idea of loving and being loved, and the way food represents those things. As she even says at one point in the movie, all she ever wanted was sparkling silverware, clean crystal, and somebody to love. When the man in her life no longer appreciated the precise necessity of those things, she gets rid of him. And their bird. Man, that part was fucked up. Also, through flashbacks, we see how exactly Saffron came to be obsessed with her passion, acting, as her mom was a domineering stage parent who left Saffron riddled with insecurities. Those insecurities seem to drive her to push even harder, and her mental state suffers as a consequence. The movie attempts to equate these two obsessions and play out the intricacies within their differences. By the time it all comes together at the end and it culminates in Amy's obsession with Saffron, it works beautifully, and its underlying themes on power and food obsession is beautifully well played. I don't think I've ever really seen it done that way. So Amy's obsession at some point switches to Saffron, and she showers her with unwanted attention and gourmet meals. At one point, finally, this comes to a head as Amy confronts her over her meals being in the garbage. This scene is a nail-biter. It really pays off the tension built between the two, as Amy screams and accuses Saffron of being pompous, and Saffron refuses to let Amy continue being so possessive and weird. Here's the trigger warning, skip about 15 seconds if you can't do it. Saffron pulls Amy into the bathroom in an emotional scene and explains that she's bulimic in disturbing detail. It's a devastating moment that's bound to stick with you. This emotional moment sticks as a bonding moment, and we're treated to a montage of Amy nursing Saffron's ailing artistic brain and heart. Amy wants so badly to nurture someone. Saffron allows her to, and in turn, receives a ton of confidence. The movie raises a lot of interesting questions on the nature of codependency, such as if the codependent relationship is mutually beneficial, is it necessarily a negative thing? Here is another one of the trigger warnings. Again, skip about 15 seconds because this part will be hard. Saffron's newfound confidence is torn down almost immediately when at an audition, she's confronted with a man who sexually assaulted her at a casting audition as a teenager. Saffron spirals into a depression and begins again to question her self-worth. Vulnerable, their relationship turns romantic. After all of that, the long extended montage and all, what the fuck, we snap back to our investigation taking place. As it's further unraveled, it's implied that not only did Amy kill Saffron, but had cooked and fed her to the detective throughout the questioning. The movie draws parallels between sex and food and pleasure and pain and obsession and passion and codependency, and it touches on each of these things thoughtfully and so well. It's a close examination of mental illness and delusion, and how the lines between fantasy and reality can sometimes blur. Alright, so here's the part where I tell you the 6 things I'm looking for in these movies. Tension, kills, plot, acting, direction, and then sound design / score. I don't think I said those in the order I usually do. The movie certainly ratchets up the tension when it needs to, and does so fairly effectively, but the tone isn't strictly tense. The tension and uneasiness of this movie really comes from the director's choice not to play it too heavy-handedly. There's something not quite right throughout, and without giving it all away, the tension's actually revealed through that. There's no actual kills on screen in this movie, so it's kind of hard to rate. But I'm gonna give it a 4 based solely on just how intense the reveal was when she killed the bird. Telling the story in a non-linear fashion was itself brilliant. The story is fantastic, even if it is kind of simplistic. There's enough here to keep you intrigued throughout the runtime and then some. There's also a ton of rewatch value in some of the subtle plot points littered throughout. Everyone, and I mean everyone, in this movie nails their roles. Graham plays Amy superbly and is worth watching the movie alone. The shot selection was uniform and sleek, and the on-screen information subtle. By not playing the obvious angles heavy-handedly, the director actually created a genuine sense of unease that's rarely matched. The sound design was fine, nothing too exciting or crazy. It did what it's supposed to. Overall, Compulsion is hard to put a finger on. It's creepy and downright strange, but it's played almost lightheartedly, which can be a confusing experience. I loved it and honestly wish I had heard about it sooner. So by my count, that is 44 out of 60, which equals out to 73%. Not bad for the first thriller in this series. So that's it. Thanks for watching, guys. Please remember to like and subscribe. Next week, I'm doing a couple of video essays I'm super excited about, so please tune into those. I love doing them. Follow me on all the socials and let me know if there's any horror movies you think I should cover for this series. And until next time, stay safe.